hard to capture, extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifested. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my sacred life.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for the Boruto manga. And for the anime only fans, this is going to be a discussion where I'm going to be drawing on information that we got in the last few manga chapters, so I thank you for your support. But with all that being said, if you're still here, I'm going to assume you're okay with me talking about spoilers. So I just want to go ahead and get this out the way, okay? Like, one thing I see a lot of people saying is like, man, when are we ever going to see Might Gai step back into the arena and fight again as a full-fledged ninja? Is his leg ever gonna get fixed? And you know, after that episode where you saw Iwabe and Metal Lee fight against Might Gai, and we saw Guy on one leg absolutely demolish these guys, a lot of people saying, well, he's still clearly able to fight. And so I want to talk to you guys about why and how Might Gai can return as a ninja. It isn't out the realm of possibility, and I'm not gonna be talking about, oh well, Naruto can just use some of that 6-pass power, or they can try and use some Zetsu DNA and some Hashirama cells in order to fix his leg. I'm not even gonna say any of that. I don't think any of that's gonna happen, but I do think that there is one way for Might Gai to return and come back stronger than he was ever before. Now, I just want to lay the groundwork for this for you, okay? So essentially, even though Might Gai has had a busted up leg that seemingly can't be healed, that's not stopped him from fighting in the past. 1 year after the war ended, okay, and you had this moment in the Kakashi Hida novel where Kakashi and Might Gai, fighting side by side, were able to take down a room filled with all of these mercenary ninja, and Might Gai was doing it on one leg, okay? So we've seen Guy fight before, and these weren't just a room filled with fodder ninja. One of these ninja had a Kekkei Genkai, so I mean, this was a real fight, and we've seen it in the Mirai novel that's set when Boruto's in the academy, where you get this moment where Might Gai is finding little small moments to continue training. So Might Gai, despite everything, has continued to train and try and beef himself up as much as possible. So how exactly do you bring him back as a ninja? Well, I think the answer is with Amado, the scientist from the Car organization, because right now he's currently in Konoha. While he's definitely done some things that a lot of people don't agree with, namely him cloning Jiraiya and bringing him back, he's also proven to be quite the madman when it comes to science, because as we know from Kawaki's words, all the inner members of Car have been scientifically altered with scientific ninja weapons tech in order to boost up their abilities. Every single member of the inners, and we've seen what Amado's been able to do with normal people, where you take Delta and all of a sudden Delta goes from being a normal person to all of a sudden being able to keep up with a suppressed chakra mode Naruto, a version of Naruto who's more powerful than he was in the war arc. So when you look at that type of a leap that's been able to be made, imagine what can happen if Amado takes the scientific ninja weapons tech and he actually bridges the gap that's in Might Gai's leg and fixes everything when it comes to chakra and all the other stuff that's keeping Might Gai from being able to essentially walk again on that leg and carry out missions as a ninja with both legs functioning. And I think that they've already set up the foreshadowing for this, because let's look at Al. Al had a large portion of his body damaged when the Biju bomb from the Ten Tails hit, and yet we saw what Carl was able to do with them. They essentially turned part of the side of his body into being a scientific ninja weapons tool, where half of his body is just mechanic. We saw it with that dog that I believe was injured in the 4th Great Ninja War, where she's from the Inuzuka clan, where she has that pet with her, where all of a sudden that dog has had ninja tech added to it as well. We've seen that Katasuke has been able to do small things. We've seen Katasuke has made Naruto a scientific ninja weapon tool hand in order to use, because as you know, Naruto got his hand blown off. The one that Naruto has allows him to absorb ninjutsu. So I definitely think that they've been setting the foreshadowing up, and if this is the case, if you take what Konoha already has and then you take what Amado's been able to do, you could see a scenario where Might Gai ends up being brought back even more powerful than he was before, because his own body should be physically stronger than he was in his base during the war, because he never stopped training. And then when you add in the fact that he's going to get these scientific enhancements to his body, where part of his body is turn him into a cyborg, and you look at the boost that that's going to give him, and then you look at what can happen once he starts opening up the inner gates. All of a sudden, a character like Gai, who is a couple of generations removed from Boruto's generation, all of a sudden he's able to keep up with the threat that is essentially the Kara organization. I think that this would be good writing. I think it'd be very well returned, and I also think that if you pull a stunt like this is a good way to reintroduce Kakashi back into the story, because I think that what a lot of people are forgetting is the fact that Kakashi was stated by Ikimoto to eventually have a pretty big role in the Boruto manga. And like I've told you guys in the past, like normally when these mangakas say this, it usually takes them a while to get to it because they have in their head where the story's going. In this case, Ikimoto knows what Kodachi said the story's working towards, but the way it actually gets presented to the audience is a different thing. Like in the Naruto manga, you know, we waited for 2 years before we got to the year Kakashi, and yet you had Kishimoto saying that the year Kakashi was coming. The same thing with Sakura, where he was saying, oh, there's big developments coming for the character of Sakura, and we had to wait 3 years before we actually saw Sakura unleash that Byakugo seal. So I mean, these mangaka, they have an idea of what's gonna happen, but it takes longer to get to that point. So I think this would be a good way to bring Kakashi back into the fold, and all of a sudden you have a team of rivals where you have Kakashi potentially fighting alongside Might Gai, or you could see a scenario where it's Might Gai and Metal Lee and Rock Lee all on the same team for a mission. This could be something that definitely ends up happening, but I want to know from you guys, would you be okay with Might Gai getting his leg permanently fixed by allowing himself to be turned into a cyborg to where that can be fixed? Obviously, if he's a cyborg, he's still human. That just means that he has scientific enhancements made to his body, but he still bleeds, he still has a heart, he still has a soul. He's just been mechanically altered. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. As always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.